Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, another wondrous Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane. We'll be having a bit of a holiday cast, and of course, right now I'm currently elsewhere, not by my computer, and definitely will not be making a lot of episodes since again it's the holidays. I'll be away for a bit over a week, so my apologies right there. That I will be back by December 30th. So having no worries then, of course, I'll be putting up an episode right there as well. But until then, though, there'll be a few extra episodes sort of unevenly spaced out, so hopefully that'll keep you entertained. I certainly hope so. And of course, as soon as I get back, I'll be pouring out a lot of fresh episodes. In the meanwhile, we'll be watching right here a fight between Cruzz, fighting for Germany and the 112th Infantry Division, versus Andyisrippin of the Soviet Union and its 230th Rifle Division. We're seeing Ostruppen, Spearhead and Lightning War here as choices for Cruzz versus Andyisrippin's Shock Motor, Shock Rifle and Guard Motor. So there's definitely a bit of emphasis there on Shock for Andy. But back here also popping up resources. So far nothing really out on the unusual. We are seeing here Pioneer Squad rushing straight for this point, taking up position here. Clearly he was hoping to sort of harass and perhaps annoy Andyisrippin a bit here, at least ensure the fuel point does not fall into the hands here of the Russians right away. And note here the way he sort of quickly shifts back and forth, checking the point, and then sort of occasionally pulling back in, basically just there to throw back the comments so they don't get into the house stuff, getting off a few more shots and doing a bit more damage. And already there, poor Yuri dies and is left behind in the snow. An unfortunate fate. Grenadiers moving up to support, perhaps. Moving over to secure the cut-off point. Grenadiers moving up a bit on their own. Cruzz needs to be careful he doesn't spread out too far initially, and we're seeing an MG42 here following up, though, for him. Lots more conscripts here for Andyisrippin. So far, nothing indicating he's got some early Molotovs up. 4 squads of conscripts. A nice solid infantry force there. Constant needs to not prevent him from taking that fuel point. Interesting enough, he's not rushing in the Grenadiers down here to actually assist. Interesting. But we do see the fuel point up here secure in that case, you know. Cruzz's plan of basically denying this fuel point sort of hands to the other from, which he's actually still has got a fuel point himself. So there's a slight problem there. Conscripts doing what they can over here, and there we go. And that definitely looks like a Molotov upgrade being researched. Of course, there will still be some time before it arrives. Grenadiers moving up to deal with the conscripts who are actually suffering through the MP40 Pioneers inside the building. And there we go, Grenadiers arriving. Conscripts on the run from the Wehrmacht. Point up there being secured. Points there secured. Points there secured. Nice broad approach here from Andy. Cruzz on the other hand seems to be tightening his lines, which is definitely good and needed. 3rd squad of Grenadiers on the way. Grenadiers here catching into a bit of trouble here, being caught on the road by the conscripts already there. Poor Heinz is stopped on the road. Molotov following up and cancelling it. MG42 taking up position in the church. But the Grenadiers are definitely not looking too good here. It looks like they're hoping for the MG42 to set up and suppress those Bolsheviks. So they managed to take up position here by some old trees in the background.
We have been granted access to superior
back of the village.
and soldiers.
That's supposed to be more fitting. So far, Andyisrippin is definitely getting most of the map. He's also getting most of the victory points and most of the munitions. Though we do see that Cruzz has managed to secure himself a fuel point. Combat, it looks like they might be trying to harass the fuel point, at least the connecting point right there. Nicely played there. And Cruzz does not seem to be reacting, so he could easily end up losing connection to that fuel point. Conscripts rushing in, going to take up position in the house. MG42 getting burned, but looks like that Molotov did not connect very well. Again, note it only does damage if you know there's anyone actually there. As you might be noticing, they're not quite. It looks like Cruzz still pulled out of the building, interesting enough, despite not actually being any serious sense of danger. Conscripts there, ran a bit of trouble and going at the same time for the cut-off point there. Well played, well played. Well played there by Andy. Keeps Cruzz occupied, then goes straight for all the vital cut-off points. Lovely. But there we go. Molotov in the building, Grenadiers are running straight into. Ach du lieber, perhaps we should not be running into this burning building. I cannot help but feel it is bad for our health. At the same time, we are seeing Cruzz trying to pull the same trick here on Andyisrippin, but with considerably less success and considerably higher casualties. 4th squad of Grenadiers following up. Altononi has checked up, but he's not going to be utilising that right away anyways. And what might this be? Additional squads here for Andy, or is he going for something else? Shock troopers have arrived. These shock troopers with their PPH 41s and their body armour. Definitely doing a lot of damage right there to Cruzz. Definitely a bit of a nasty early surprise there from Andyisrippin, giving him 5 infantry squads out on the field, including one rather heavily armed one. And right now, most of Cruzz's territory is in fact disconnected or basically Soviet. So right here, Andyisrippin has definitely managed to outplay Cruzz in the initial parts of the game, though again, Cruzz did make a few mistakes and sort of basically thinning out his lines too much, allowing Andyisrippin to swiftly move through in several regards, and certainly he should not have ignored those combat engines behind his lines. But of course, now the question is, what will he do next? What will Cruzz do to rectify this terrible situation? Panzer Grenadier on the way, bunker being worked on hastily here by some Grenadier.
Don't let us freeze here. Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Securing points up north.
Grenadiers ready.
With some rather depleted Grenadiers. Minesweepers by the Pioneers, that's a good move for Cruzz. Of course, he's assuming that his opponent is a competent and vicious bastard, which Andy is, most certainly. Though in this case, he's actually setting up demo chart, which is definitely a step above your regular mine. Though, of course, I do believe the Minesweepers can actually still spot it, though. Of course, I'm not sure if they can disarm it, though. There's, of course, a much higher likelihood if your opponent actually spots you trying to disarm it, you are going to get blown up. So it's a bit more of a nasty situation there.
We could use some action to keep warm.
Pioneers!
Then we go quick check up position in the house. There will be 2 windows to farm, so the guys are safe. And then we go quick rifle grenade. Andy making good use of the buildings, pushing forward with the infantry.
Grenadiers reporting.
There we go, Panzer Grenadiers have arrived.
We are losing a sector.
Shock troopers arriving, moving in there, and the Grenadiers are quickly retreating. Cruzz realizing he cannot win that engagement. Good job there. And full on assault up here. Grenadiers supported by Panzer Grenadiers. One Grenadier already bites the dust. Molotov in the path. Good move there, and in fact also denying cover, but the Panzers should not be underestimated. With their Sturmgewehrs, they're quite effective at most ranges, which is what some people tend to forget and just seem to think they're equipped with submachine guns, which they aren't. They're equipped with assault rifles, Sturmgewehrs. Treat them like that. Conscripts there almost getting mowed down in the middle of the road. That could definitely be a bit of an unpleasant awakening there for Andyisrippin. Conscripts pushing ahead. At the same time, pushing up south here. Pioneers quickly rushed off by the shock troopers. Grenadiers are into trouble. A lot of conscripts firing at them. Heavy damage inflicted already. And the MD-42 actually being moved ahead here. Cruzz needs to be careful, just isn't too far ahead.
Ready.
Grenadiers arriving. Second squad of Panzer Grenadiers. The Infanterie Division fighting hard. With some Panzer Grenadiers arriving from some nearby units of right support, it would seem. Charging in there, clearing up the conscripts, being allowed to sort of sneak in much closer. Good job there, fighting from the ditches. But they do suffer one loss, and they go bundle grenade, but ultimately only blows up the interior. Also expending a lot of munitions right there for Cruzz, and looks like Andy quickly evacuates the building as a lot of Panzer Grenadiers are homing in on them. And again, continue harassment there, leading the way with the shock troopers. You might even see a conscript squad going down here for Andy. Or can they escape the wrath of the Sturmgewehr? So it would seem. So it would seem. Support web company up, and we're seeing an immediate move on here for the Tank Battalion Command. Bit of an armoured rush, but at the same time not quite the same, since usually they're gone for Special 5 Command. So clearly Andy's also aware that he might be hit with something heavy, and thus actually thinks ahead and prepares for something that might, be a field gun, most likely.
Ivan is here.
Trying to hunt down the shock troopers here, not really having much luck. There we go, Conscript going to charge straight onto the Panzer Grenadiers, suffering a bit of damage there. Panzer need to pull back. There we go, trying to force them out of cover. Well done, but getting flanked a bit there and losses inflicted.
What do you need? Yes?
Grenadiers could stand to retreat, and there we go. In fact, just as says that, it happens. Cruzz making good progress now, though there are still the shock troops hanging about here to contend with. And Pat's arriving. Cruzz clearly getting the feel that, you know, he's about to get hit by some armor, and thus opting for the Panzerabwehrkanone. Shock troop trying to get most of his troops on the retreat, but the machine gun bunkers are providing decent support. They might still get the Grenadiers. And there we go, MG42 setting up as well. And there we go, smoke grenade, Nebeln, but as long as some other unit can see them, the MG42 can still fire. At the same time, Panzer is fighting most of the conscripts running straight into the machine gun fire from Soviet bunkers, though. Need to be careful, their squad almost wiped out. And ultimately pushed back with some losses, but leaving many dead and wounded on the ice.
The enemy is taking our
Definitely
territory.
some great infantry play here. No doctrine though yet from Cruzz over to Andyisrippin, who has gone for shock rifle. And is getting himself a half-track now. That's novel. Usually the first thing out from a tanky battalion command would be a T-70 or a T-34, but no. Andy's actually opting for the venerable M5 half-track.
Supply lines have been cut.
The primary armour personnel carrier for most of the Allied forces being the American, British, or, well, for that matter, Soviet. Hell, even the Germans use them a bit if they capture them.
Under fire!
Did also see some variants, though not quite as many as the German half-tracks, which really had a lot of variants, but there were a few. There aren't just, you know, aircraft anti-aircraft variant. There was, I think, one with artillery mounted on it. There was one that was actually a tank destroyer. Fun little fact there. And I believe they also had a mortar variant. There were some sort of variations there. Can't move up to deal with the Grenadiers, though they do not have access to Molotov, to the Frangibles. Pack moving up. Careful, careful there with the demo charge. And again, he doesn't know about it, of course.
This now belongs to the people. Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
Will he do it?
Taken it.
And he does it! Though a bit too late, and looks like the gun shield actually ended up protecting some. So I suppose that was a minor miracle, but still that pack is not in a good condition. Second pack up, he's clearly worried about some sort of armoured assault going in from Andy, and he's thus preparing with a lot of anti-tank guns, but so far all we have is a half-track here with a quad-mounted 50 caliber, which can actually do a lot of damage if you're not careful. Charge being engaged by the Grenadiers. And incendiary artillery going in as well at the same time. I wonder where. Right here, out. Now this spot, interesting positioning of the incendiary artillery. Interesting, interesting. Constantly they're caught between the Grenadiers and the Panzers out in the open, trying to clear them out, but they might suffer themselves quite severely. Might get wiped out. Might get wiped out. No, no, no. He pulls the Forrest Gump. And there we go, Panzer simply getting shredded by the half-track. And of course it is easily able to reinforce Andy's troops at the front line. And there we go, almost wiped out an entire Panzer Grenadier squad. Absolutely horrific. MG42 caught and getting grenaded by the shock troopers. Troops are moving in, packs are moving up.
We have an isolated sector.
Half-track taking a nice direct hit there from the pack. Veterans run up, giving it the overdrive ability.
It is now under our control.
And Grenadiers should be careful about charging it from the front like that. Across open ground, they do take a lot of damage and end up actually getting suppressed. Small engagement up between Panzer and conscripts. Can Andy predict with a Molotov? Or no, they're too close already. That will likely be the end. There we go. Veteran 2 for both squads right as that happens.
Watch out!
The enemy is taking what we have secured.
Grenade!
Rifle grenades unloaded into the church.
Engine, our territory is falling into enemy
And looks like Andyisrippin actually secured himself a Maxim, holding up positions there. Doing his best to throw back German infantry from advancing too far. Good job, though there are no mines at all. I think he could do with a few mines right around here, and here for that matter. Half-track pulling back for repairs. That is definitely
Red
needed.
Army at your service.
We need to re-establish our supply lines.
But the enemy wants it back!
Taking fire! Infantry attack!
Making good and steady progress.
Grenade!
Molotov on the MD42, bun grenade on the Maxim. Panzer quickly falling into the church here.
We're under attack!
Orders?
And we do see the anti-aircraft half-track going in after those Panzer Grenadiers. Quickly realising what's going on, Cruzz does retreat. Of course, also finding shock troopers in his path. Quite the gauntlet to run there.
Supply sector under attack.
Engage!
And the pack here being engaged by a squad of conscripts moving hit. Veteran 2. Looks like he'll quickly try and do as much damage here. Molotov on the pack. Crew Grenadiers trying to stop the conscripts. Conscripts ooh-rahing away.
Man down!
And conscripts in a bit of engagement with the Panzer Grenadiers by the centre. And taking up position within the house. In response to such intrepid rate of fire.
Taken our supply sector.
Maxim reinforced, ready for the fight again.
Victory is ours.
And could it be both players are saving up for some heavy armour
Enemy forces are attempting
of
to
some
capture
kind,
our
and that rather
territory.
involves that Cruzz has gone for it. And what has he? Yes, indeed, he's gone for lightning rods. It looks like one is saving up for the IS-2, the others for the Tiger.
Infantry firing on our vehicle.
But it is in a bit of trouble. Oh, but they do manage to get up on Panzerfaust there on the half track. But at the same time, they're still out in the open. They're still taking a bunch of damage. They're still getting suppressed.
Enemy forces capturing supply sector.
There we go. Give air for the fleas up on some of the Grenadiers. Comrades ready to repair the half track.
We need orders. A sector has been cut off.
Another man dead. Maxim opening up. Panzer's bringing support. Larger infantry assault going there. Pack getting assaulted by the conscripts. Can he get it off there on the pack or the half track before it's too late?
Another IS-2 heavy tank is ready.
And there we go. IS-2 ready. Half tank. Veterans 2. But stuck in a nasty position. There we go. Blown up just as it happens. But the IS-2 is here. The Josef Stalin 2. And right now a Tiger would also be available to Cruzz if he has the command points for it. Grenadiers with carefully flees taking a toll down the conscript squad, and finally one goes down. Quite some time before Andyisrippin actually suffered such a loss. Points being secured, also in a nice position now with the demo charge. Nice little funneling effect here, so an infantry will be much more likely to just get wiped out by the demo charge. And there you go, IS-2 rolling hit, no Duschkas on it, and Tiger tank arrives in response to 502nd Schwerer Panzerabteilung, providing support there for the Infantry Division, while a heavy tank regiment does the same for Andyisrippin's Rifle Division. Panzer is close to getting wiped out there by the 122mm high explosive shells, while the Tiger leads the way up here.
Heavy tanks are now available to crush the enemy.
Country running to be assault with the Grenadiers, with the Gewehr 43s. So both sides are aware of what's going on here on the battlefield. Both knows that the other one's got a heavy tank. So this should prove to be something interesting. Of course, what will the two different players' responses be to all of this? How will they react? What will they do? What precautions will be taken? Also, good job then, constantly pulling back his packs for reinforcement, healing and repairs. At the same time, ensuring he doesn't do it with both at the same time, so actually something at the front line.
The enemy still has 300 points.
And there we go, Duschka up. Ooh, nasty hit down the Grenadiers. Looks like they got lucky, only one man dead, though the rest are definitely worse for wear. Fight for the northern point. Panzer's moving in to deal with the conscripts up there.
Losing territory.
Quickly having them sent off.
You need something demolished?
Maxim leading the way, IS-2 moving in, Pack 14 support, Grenadiers also in support. Tiger takes one hell of a direct hit there from the IS-2. Conscripts moving in like they're going to see if they can't get off an anti-tank grenade, damage the engine of the IS-2. Nope, he's not moving it, so he actually gets more accuracy. In this case, the small stone wall absorbed it. Note here, Andy clearly is trying to get rid of that pack, so his IS-2 will have an easy time with the Tiger tank. Shot failed to penetrate right there. Pack 40 turning about. IS-2 managed to break beyond the range there. There we go, Tiger gets off one hit on the IS-2. Grenadiers not looking too well inside that building. More packs moving in, Panzers moving in, support as well. MG42 of the Incendiary Army rounds. Opening up with the shock troopers, good choice there in the abilities. IS-2 needs to be careful, he doesn't get caught out on the ice. And looks like Andy just avoided that fake barely. Tiger tank moving here, there we go, taking a shot over to Cruzz again. Maxim crew making a desperate run for it.
They have liberated the objective. Ready.
While Cruzz is rather boldly going for a very broad front approach.
Yeah.
Which is generally a bit tricky for the Germans if they're not careful. But there we go, immediate work, though Andy is a bit lacking in combat. He needs to sort of quickly repair it. Though the same can also easily be said about Cruzz. He definitely also needs more pioneers to sort of more swiftly repair his heavy armor.
This sector belongs to the Reich.
And I wonder what he's thinking there. Both players actually don't fully repair their heavy armor for some reason. Oh, Panthers need to retreat. Rückzug. Oh, look, they can unfocus. Oh, that was. Oh, you know, get off the ice. IS-2 in heavy trouble. Looks like the Pack 40 is definitely doing a lot of serious damage. IS-2 needs to get away. Tiger not looking too good either. That was extremely close. Looks like Andyisrippin managed to pull up a field gun. Bit of trouble here, the conscripts moving in. Veterans you want for the Tiger. Veterans you want. Causing a bit of damage to nearby structures as he tries to kill the infantry as well. Field gun slowly inching up. Tiger tank just needs to get out of there. Holding up the centre here, Pack running support. North has fallen to a Maxim shock trooper combination. And the engine has lost its top gunner. Poor bastard dies. Then it is pushing ahead there with the carefully flees. Trying to force away that field gun, giving the Tiger time to escape, and there we go. Also looks like he's in fact blitzing it away. There we go, veterans, he bleed, but the IS-2 is moving up ahead. Grenadiers need to retreat. Don't move ahead like that. Cruzz, what are you doing? There we go, squad dead. That was definitely a bit of a blunder there for Cruzz. Maneuvering his infantry about there in the open against an IS-2. That's practically begging for them to get wiped out.
Standing by.
Ready.
Also looks like he's actually now got an additional pioneer squad to help repair the Tiger. Splendid. Nothing similarly though for Andyisrippin so far. From what I can tell, definitely a bit more of a shame.
Losing a sector.
Pushing ahead there, Andyisrippin constantly keeping up the pressure, never slowing down, or at least rarely slowing down.
How can we help?
Definitely good play there, but again he definitely needs some more troops to actually repair his IS-2. I mean, that tank with barely any health left is going to take numerous minutes to actually get back in the fight, and with two pioneers on the Tiger tank, I mean, the Tiger's going to be fit for combat before the IS-2. Note here how he's actually using incendiary army rounds to deal with the troops inside the building, and actually does a bit more, at least has a high chance, I believe, of actually doing something. Though obviously, I mean, it's a bit of trouble.
You will not let up. The enemy still has 3.
And conscripts moving in, that MG42 is actually in a pretty terrible position right there for Cruzz.
The enemy is taking our our territory.
Not sure where that noise comes from, if you heard that. And time for the mid-game analysis. Noting he's actually got something up here. Looks like he managed to steal a Maxim actually from Andyisrippin. Fancy that. But otherwise the current situation is that Cruzz is actually making some progress back after a less than fortunate start where Andyisrippin managed to hold most of the map. He's definitely got a nice complement of infantry, though he's actually suffering some nasty infantry losses. He needs to work on that. He's definitely got most of the anti-tank, and he's also got a tank that's definitely getting repaired faster than the opponent's heavy armour. But otherwise, in terms of tanks, they're largely the same. But again, the advantage lies in the amount of anti-tank he can muster, in particular since he's more veteran, and thus also has a higher rate of fire. Plus, of course, the ever excellent target weak point ability. So there are definitely some options there. Victory points, though, are not so much an advantage as they are in Andyisrippin's advantage. So his options should rather be more focused about now, again, securing a bit more of a steady front line, get that point, get this point established around that before pushing towards it. Again, the sort of broad front approach has left him many openings where Andyisrippin could slip through the cracks, which is usually what you want to be careful with. And this one, for example, here, while nicely covering this, could, for example, be better off here actually covering the more vital points over here. At least that would be my thoughts on the matter. But right now, one option will of course be trying to get another Tiger tank. That would definitely provide him with an additional advantage, an additional heavy armor advantage. Although, I mean, he's pretty quickly running out of pop caps, so of course, I mean, it's not quite that straightforward. A Tiger does require a lot in those regards. So of course, many more than that, and it's going to be a bit tricky for him to otherwise maintain the rest of his forces. More Gewehr 53s will definitely help, and of course you could also actually try setting up for the Stuka close air support and sort of have that work in conjunction with the Tiger, so in that way try and deal with the IS-2 if there arrives any other IS-2s. That would definitely also help out nicely. Looking at Andyisrippin, also pointing out here in terms of damage, Cruzz is so far in the lead, also in terms of kills, though Andyisrippin is pretty close in damage, but again Andyisrippin needs to sort of somehow quickly follow up, and he's definitely going to need somehow dealing with the Tiger, or somehow strike harder at the flanks and somehow catch a lot of Cruzz's troops, then actually do some serious damage. That could also work out, that is, avoid the strong point and sort of try to work his way around all the other units which are more spread out, and again so far that's rather more likely to work for him. He could get a KV-8 right now, though I'm not entirely sure that will work out. Another IS-2 would be a better gamble, or getting a bunch of T-34 to sort of quickly rush around the field and, for example, try and surround the Tiger, perhaps even ram one T-34 into it and sort of that way to perhaps disable it. That could work out reasonably well if I was to make a suggestion or a thought on the matter. The KV-8 of course also be quite handsome or helpful. Though I suppose also handsome if you're into that kind of Soviet mechanics. Out in the field, sort of burning away the infantry, clearing out the flanks. That might, you know, provide a bit of a benefit there. And of course, you can then flank the Pack 40s. If, for example, keeps the Tiger occupied elsewhere, he could quickly burn out the Cruzz. So there are some things there that might work out. But right now, I mean, Andy is in a bit of a precarious situation. It is not helped, again, by the fact that he's only got one combat engineer repairing his IS-2. Generally, you want two at the very least when it comes to repairing armor, and you know, when it comes to the heavy armor, 3 is actually a really nice number. But let us return here back to Cruzz and back to the fight.
The sector has been cut off. It's too late for a medic.
MG42 crew. Oh, could go down. No, 9 is out of there. Run, Heinz, run! Do not hand over attack MG42s to the Russians. And veteran free for the Panzergunners. That's definitely going to be a nightmare for Andyisrippin and his Soviet troops. They will definitely be able to lay down a murderous fire against any Bolsheviks, or suspected Bolsheviks, or people who look funny. Shock troops here in also serious trouble. Ow, good lord. Another devastating blow right there to Andy. And he has in fact called in the KV-8, the Clement Variation of 8, the flamethrower tank, which will be able to quite handsomely punish anything out on the flanks. In fact, these Panzers might be in one hell of an incendiary surprise. There we go. One man already aflame, 2. Definitely bad news right there for Cruzz.
What do you need?
But at the same time, it also means there won't be any IS-2s arriving soon. But right there, that was a precious Panzer Grenadier squad just wiped up with one apparently flying across the snow. Field gun still mounting, no reinforcement from the IS-2, though it's finally ready. It still took it some time to actually get it there. And Pioneers immediately running into some serious issues there, not just the KV-8 but the IS-2.
Heavy Panzer firing on enemy!
Panzer Grenadiers very much just need to get out of this. Oh, good lord, they just got wiped out there. He needed to be careful, but wasn't quite. And that resulted in a complete loss there, a devastating blow right there to Cruzz, who's just lost half of his infantry, and in fact most of his veteran infantry. Buildings over, acting as a bit of a deterrent to either side, neither wanting to peek their head out too far and get shot by the other. Second field gun arriving here for Cruzz. MG4 using up Tiger here, getting blasted by field guns and the IS-2. Tiger might want to consider active pulling back before it's too late. There you go, veterans want the other field gun, KV-8 burning away at the Grenadiers. Pack 40 sending up. Tiger tank seriously needs to pull away. Heavy damage inflicted there. Two field guns and the IS-2. Veterans 2 on the other, Pack 40 pushing forward with his armor. Cruzz shot right there. No target weak point though. KV-8 getting behind the packs. Definitely bad news. The Tiger's about to go down. Veterans 3 for the Pack 40. He needs to target down the KV-8. He needs to target down. IS-2 blown up. But at the same time, the KV-8s are... Oh, the KV-8's burning through the pack, Cruzz. He could try and shift over to the other gun and try to hit the Tiger tank in the rear. It's a slim chance, but it might work. Of course, you could try some tracking on the field guns and try to catch the Tiger that way. That could work out, in particular since Cruzz is perhaps being a bit too reckless there with his heavily damaged Tiger, which is almost veteran 2. Remember, tracking is a powerful ability as well. It allows you to see much farther with the field gun to get the most range out of them without having to send troops ahead and thus alerting your opponent to what's going on. No, Cruzz does manage to pull away his damaged Tiger tank, and we're seeing another one moving up there. KV-8 continues his rampage and looks like, oh good lord, Cruzz has lost all of his infantry. He's down to Pioneers and machine guns and a pair of Tiger tanks. Andyisrippin though needs to be careful with his field guns. If he moves about like that with nothing and scouting out ahead of them, they can be outmaneuvered here, as we see in this case by a Tiger tank. That is definitely bad news. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The Tiger has the advantage in these close quarters where the field guns can't quite set up in a good position, and the Tiger tank can much more easily move around. Oh dear, he's trying to predict where the Tiger's going to be, but Cruzz just outplays him by not moving at all. This is a terrible situation with nothing to cover the field guns, nothing to help them. They are at the mercy of Cruzz's Tiger tank. KV-8 moving up, field gun direct. Other Tiger tank receiving repairs, and again 2 Pioneer squads working on it. Oh, and there we go, the 3rd field gun is down. Oh, the 2nd field gun. Either way, it is gone. KV-8 rolling around here, Veterans 1. But that most assuredly does not stand a chance versus Cruzz's 2 Tiger tanks. Oh, and he moved it out into the ice and it got sunk. Over to Andyisrippin, who is definitely in a tight spot right now versus 2 Tigers. The only advantage he has right now is he's dealing with 2 heavy tanks, and that otherwise, Cruzz has very, very little infantry. In fact, he's barely got any at all. And that's where Andy's advantage lies in. So if he can avoid the Tiger tanks, there might be a slight chance there. And basically keep running around, forcing the Tigers to move to get they're not really that good at. Pioneers almost wiped out. And getting a flank down the MG42 with Veterans 3 conscripts. Well done. Although the MG42 right now reaches Veterans 3 in return. Tiger immediately moves in and punishes the lives of 1 Soviet soldier. More field guns.
Soldiers ready.
Conscript there just needs to get away. And there we go. They get the gist of it and get the hell out of there. And at the same time, Comet sneaking in behind, stealing a Pack 40. Right, oh, and the Tiger coming under fire there from two sides by field gun and a Pack 40. But the crew there was too weak, and a one hit there from the Tiger killed them all, except for poor Fedorov, who made a run for it. And looks like Cruzz's response is to basically sort out the packs since he can't recruit them, it feels like. Of course, there might be chance here to practicing Blitzkrieg up.
Shock troops have arrived.
There we go, veterans one for the field gun. 2 packs still there, 2 packs which could be recruited. That would definitely give him 3 overall anti-tank guns to turn against the Tigers. And that might definitely give him a chance of actually wiping them out. Or at least holding them much more sincerely back. In particular, again, considering the lack of infantry available for Cruzz.
Awaiting command. Under armor attack.
Anti-tank grenades impacting on the rear. Field gun setting up. That could very well be the end of the Tiger tank, but we're seeing the other one rushing in. Desperately so. Gunneries bringing in the Gewehr 43s. Pack 40 here. Not quite ready to deal with the Tiger tank moving in from the other side. Tracking. No, it's met behind the building right there. Lovely. Another KD-8. Oh, I don't think he should have gone for that. Tiger here getting blasted by the Panzerabwehrkanone under Soviet command. Other field gun here getting flanked by the Gunneries and the MG-42. And a bit of a push up here with the fresh shock troopers from Andyisrippin. Field gun crew murder. Pack 40 trying to escape.
Enemy squad attacking.
The enemy is taking what we have secured.
And Tiger immediately pulls back here now. This veteran 2 for repairs.
They're under attack.
Gunneries though about to get a bit of a nasty wake up call. There we go. The KV-8 arrives.
Heavy tanks standing by.
Da, tovarish.
Troops reinforcing.
Fresh meat has arrived.
Victory points on the advantage of Andyisrippin still.
Now have access to KV-8 flamethrower tanks. We take back what is ours.
If you can also get that Pack 40 back, he might stand a chance, in particular with that field gun in conjunction. That would allow him to muster sufficient firepower to be a credible threat to the Tiger tanks in particular position well. Let's see if that actually happens. The game is certainly not over yet, despite the opponent having 2 Tiger tanks. In particular, since both of them are heavily damaged, and also currently Cruzz's Pioneers are spread out a bit, though he's got 3 squads. They're still not quite able to sort of focus on one Tiger tank, quickly bringing them back. Both tanks will be out for a bit of time, which could definitely give Andyisrippin more time to sort of come back.
Capture MG-42 is tickling us.
Third victory point looks like it's about to fall. Tiger being rushed ahead. Cruzz cannot afford at the current moment to hold back with his Tigers despite the state they're in, which sort of says something about the situation, despite having 2 Tiger heavy tanks. I mean, it's not that straightforward as some people might like to consider it lost already. Gunnery squad there wiped out by the KV-8. MG-42, they're burning alive as well due to a Molotov. That could be a serious loss. And there we go, veterans for the MG-42 down for Cruzz. A blow there to the infantry division, but the Tiger tank is moving ahead with veterans 2. At the same time, victory point over here falling flat. All 3 victory points will soon be in the hands of Andyisrippin. And moving straight into the Tiger tank. Pioneers running away. They don't want to get broiled alive and stuck to the side of the Tiger tank. Veteran 2 Pioneers, by the way, that's quite nice, but ultimately forced to retreat as well. More Pioneers burning alive. KV-8 escaping by the looks of it. Pack 40 ready again. Field gun here has not been recruited yet. Also noting a light machine gun. Oh, good lord, that's definitely going to be great if Andyisrippin could turn that against Cruzz, or vice versa, if Cruzz could pick it up and, of course, equip his men with it. That would definitely help him as well. Both Tiger tanks moving ahead and moving away.
Bit by bit, we take back what is ours.
Not the best positioning, though, in the middle of the ice. one lucky strike or anything, and that's going to be 2 very expensive ornaments at the bottom of the river. Light machine gun not secured, but Gewehr fully freezing the NG-42s on the Grenadiers. That rather says something about how desperate the situation with Cruzz. I mean, he's heavily equipping his Grenadiers to sort of fight the enemy.
Squad standing by. What do you want, comrade?
Troops here reinforcing. Tiger tank here almost repaired. There we go. Quickly get it off the ice. And the ice is definitely not looking too strong here. Tiger engaging, second Tiger setting up here, of course, more accurate than the other one with less scatch on, of course, increased range. They're going to be a threat, but there we go. Years pulling away. Conscript rushing ahead. Going to see if they can't get off some nasty stuff there. And squad wiped out. But at the same time, if the Tiger had not moved, that would have been what had happened. The ice would have vanished due to the Molotov. Damn well close there. Looks like he did try to recruit the field coming up. There we go, Conscripts with an MG. Conscripts over here crewing. Anti-tank grenade on the rear. Does the job. Conscripts need to retreat. Field gun firing into that exposed tree of the Tiger tank. Victory points are quickly ticking down right here. This might be the chance for Andyisrippin to win this one. But field gun gets cleared out. Field gun's moving up. KVF back in the fight as well. Shark Troopers tearing through the Pioneers. Grenades going off. Tiger providing fire support from the other side. Shark Troopers close to getting wiped out, and the losses are now really piling up for Andyisrippin. Squad moving up here. KV8 could move in and try to deal with the Japanese up there. Tiger moving ahead, coming under fire from the Pack 40. Very close to getting veterans he won. But oh, as they were repairing, the crew got wiped out. Oh, well, the comrades were wiped out. There we go. Target weak point. Target weak point. Target the weak point. Axeliber. Grenadiers are getting wiped out by the KV8. 36 victory points left. 2 points still in the hands of Andy. Demo charge here finally went off, wiping out some poor bastard. Nothing to identify in terms of remains. There we go, making some moves with the Pioneers. If only he'd mined up here, laid down another demo charge, would definitely been harder for Cruzz to make a move for that one.
The enemy is down to 25 points.
Burning away there at the Pioneers. KV8 about to go down. To combine Tiger fire. There we go. Good night.
We are suffering vehicle losses.
And a third Tiger tank just for the hell of it by the looks of it. But 2 succeeds, 3 will succeed even more. But again, Andy can still smell victory. The points are low. They are still favouring him. But of course, with 3 Tiger tanks, it's going to be a bit tricky to pull off.
Awaiting orders. Grenade! Grenade!
Shark Troopers doing what they can here, but the third Tiger gets them.
More of our troops have been lost. We have it.
Over to Cruzz again. Very low in infantry space. We only got Pioneers.
Commander, use them well.
Quite the depleted force on both sides.
Tiger.
Field gun moving up. A direct move for the centre victory point, straight into the line of fire of 2 Tigers with the third one moving in. That's definitely a bad recipe. Field gun crew here in dire straits, caught in the middle of the ice. With lots of Tigers firing away, and there we go. Sunk into the ice. The waters. And go trying to get that Tiger, he's trying to get one, but no! Such luck! The veteran crew gets them all. And finally another IS-2 arrives. But a bit too late, I fear.
Tiger ready.
And there we go. Game over. A brutal engagement right here. Lots of heavy armor. In fact, that's the only armor that really was. Either IS-2s and KV-8s or Tiger tanks. Definitely a bit rarer to see. And of course, there might be an argument made for the currently CP points allowances needed to get them are perhaps a bit low. But either way, though, brutal fight. Andy was very close to winning despite his opponent having caused a lot of armor on the field. And again, that was through Andy's, otherwise a nice play. Dealing with the infantry, dealing with the Tiger tanks a bit more alone. But the problem was a bit, that he then couldn't really muster sort of credible defense, and he rather failed then scored to follow up with some tactics to then guard the victory points against whatever remaining infantry there might be in terms of mines just digging in around those 2 victory points, which rather allowed Cruzz some quick comebacks there and quickly take them back. I also think the second KV-8 might have been a mistake. You think he should have gone for an IS-2 more, but then again, I might be wrong there. But in your brave fight, Cruzz saw things through in the end by faith in the Tiger tank. Though again, he needs to work in a bit of unit preservation. He does have a tendency of slightly throwing away his infantry at times when they probably could have been easily and safely retreated. But bloody well close though. Good job there with the Pioneers, although again, in some cases did split not a bit much. At times again, I think that was also one of the things that hurt Andyisrippin, that initial IS-2 that really had to give it up for, I think, 4 to 5 minutes for getting repairs until he could finally get back in the fight. And that was a lot of minutes where basically Cruzz could do what he wanted without having to worry about an IS-2 moving in to punish him in case he made any mistakes. And I think he also could have made use of some junctions there that tracking ability could have been quite helpful as well. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. I've learned nothing or 2 or 3 from it. Hope you've got some ideas for your own games. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers, and of course feel free to share, subscribe and all that.